welcome back to Business Owners Speak. Today, I'm very happy to have with us Cherrise Wilks with Affinity Consulting Group. Cherrise, how are you today?
I'm doing fantastic. How are you, Matt?
I am great. Thank you. Happy to have you. Excited to learn more about you and the business. So tell us a little bit about it.
Okay, so my name is Cherrise Wilks. I am the president and CEO of Affinity Consulting Group. I call myself a chief funding strategist. So Affinity Consulting Group is a single member LLC. We were started in 2010. We've been in operation for 13 years. We are a management consulting firm. I've got 6 associates with me. And we basically provide government solutions in addition to small business advisory services to basically help build public-private partnerships and ensure that small businesses and governments are actually prepared to increase their revenues and procure new revenue streams.
Okay, that's a good little elevator pitch right there. I like that.
Thank you.
If you could, so you started in 2010. What were you doing before that?
Mhm. So I have actually had a over a 20-year government career. So I have actually worked at the federal, state, and local levels, primarily in the I'd say organizational strategy, finance, grants, and community development arena. And so I have used a lot of those skills to basically build out this management consulting firm and be able to assist bringing all of those partners to the table for multi-million dollar deals. So it eventually got started from the types of projects and deals that I was working on within government, bringing in, $10 million for a $50 million development project, things of that nature. And so I basically had a set of dreams really to start helping small businesses and nonprofits, bringing them to the table for government projects and helping them be able to expand their service offerings and their revenue by partnering with the government.
Okay, so was there a moment, back 10 years ago or so, or 13 years ago, excuse me, where you said, okay, it's time? And how did you actually make that decision to take the leap?
So again, I created the company in 2010. At that time, I actually just wanted to work with companies and organizations that I liked within my community in the region and felt like it was a way for me to serve a greater purpose by assisting those businesses and nonprofits outside of my day job working for the government. At that time, I was actually a mayoral appointee in one of the local governments. And so I pretty much, my role was to participate on projects that the mayor wanted. So it left little room to be able to do more passion projects or work on different types of projects that would benefit different, maybe target populations within the community. So I decided after hours and on weekends, I would start working with those businesses and nonprofits to help them bring in grants, to help them look for different types of funding, to possibly introduce them to program managers and contract officers within the government on projects that they might be able to benefit from. And so I started doing that slowly but surely. And then over time, for the next like 5 to 6 years of the company's incorporation, I decided to actively start working towards securing additional contracts myself. And so in 2016, I made the decision, instead of kind of doing this as a part-time business owner, I would take a leap of faith and go ahead and jump out full time as soon as I was able to replace my own income and then have contracts in place that would enable me to actually hire a team. And so that's when I went out full time in 2016.
Oh, good for you. So 5 or 6 years of doing it on the side, nights, weekends, that's a grind, no doubt.
Yes, it is a grind.
So you mentioned team. Tell us a little bit about what kind of positions you have on your team.
Mm-hmm. So I actually have some senior consultants who their primary expertise is also in government contracting and small business development. So I make sure that I've got a team of individuals who can provide the same similar type of services. And I met them basically through my network, mostly through my network. So I was able to use the professional associations that I'm a member of, also networking at conferences and meeting people and just continuing to follow up with meet and greets and continue to build a rapport with them and develop a relationship. And so some of them have become contractors to the company. Additionally, I always hire interns. I make sure that the company has a internship program. That is how I actually started my government career. And so I believe in the power of providing those career pipelines for interns and then incentivizing them to stay on with the company. So I've got a couple of research assistants, social media interns that help me out. And so that rounds out my team.
That's great. It's almost like a feeder program, right? You get them
Yes.
early and work them through and get them some loyalty into the company. That makes a lot of sense.
Yes, absolutely. So I have a few who have stayed with me at least for a couple of years before moving on.
Sure. Okay, so talk to us a little bit about your perfect target for a future client. Is it a small business owner looking for XYZ, needing help in certain areas? What does that look like?
Mm-hmm. So the ideal client, we have primarily niched down to providing support to service-based organizations, IT companies, or technology-based companies, real estate development, if they've got a focus on maybe getting into community development and wanting to also, again, build those relationships with the government. And then construction firms, we partner with those. And then I am open. I have supported some medical offices. And so essentially what we do for those small businesses is we have a package where we identify funding for them. So we provide done for you services. So we will help identify the funding. We'll get to know your business, do an assessment, identify those funding opportunities for you because there are over 22 types of business funding. And so we will make sure that we are able to position you to get access to capital. So I'll give you a case study. Right now, I'm working with an IT company. This IT company is actually going to go raise funds, and they are also pursuing some government grants as well. This IT company needed to have some documentation in place, having a pitch deck together for those investors. We've helped them create that document. We are helping them create the proposals for the government because they want to see basically a mini business plan, but in a proposal or a deck format. We're helping them get those types of things together to be able to pitch to potential investors for the project that they're working on. Additionally, we've gone after some private grants, business grants for them. We were actually successful in helping them win a marketing grant the other day. We got notified this week. And so that company is actually going to be able to use those funds to create a commercial that is going to be shown within their local market. So we are working with them every step of the way to help them meet their audacious goal that they have. And so they have hired us to continue to help them fulfill that requirement. Other things that we do, I've got contracts. I work with entrepreneur support organizations, and we may become the technical advisors to their built-in clientele. So what we do is, again, work with the client, assess what type of documentation they have, take a look at their, personal credit, their business credit, what type of funding have they accessed, if they've accessed any. If not, we work on creating a strategic roadmap for them to figure out what are their opportunities. Also, a lot of companies haven't even thought about corporate or government contracting as a revenue stream. We will help them get their business certifications if they're needed, and then also help them get contracts. So we write proposals. We help you create your capability statements. We basically are doing I just call it documentation because that's the simplified term for me, but it is all of that administrative paperwork that CEOs and their leadership may not like to create, but they are the documents that are going to be required by funders and for contracts in order for you to be successful. So we are helping you get that together. And then we are also launching the Fund Finders Academy actually next month. And so that academy is going to have training related to access to capital. It's going to be a subscription-based purchase between $99 and $150, but that's for people who want to do it themselves. You're not ready or you don't have a budget yet to pay for our services to just take it off your plate, but you're willing to take a class, have an accountability group or hop on a live question and answer call, and you want to go through the process yourself and raise the funds on your own or go after the contracts on your own. And so we are putting out classes to help you become educated on what funding is available, and then you can go out and pursue that funding yourself. So to give you an example, one of the classes are the top 10 business grant questions and how to answer them. Everybody's talking about grants as one of the options for business funding. Well, a lot of people don't understand what funders are looking for or how to respond to those business grant questions. So we have a class recorded where we're teaching people, how do you respond? I am actually a licensed and credentialed grants professional and contracts professional. So I've had a ton of experience actually drafting these types of proposals. And we've been so successful to date that we've actually generated 84.5 million in funding for our clients. And so this is why I want to give back and teach these same principles to the people who are going to be a part of our academy.
It's a lot of services, Cherrise. That's amazing. So would you say that most business owners are not even aware of what may be available to them or their business in terms of funding and grants and whatnot? There just seems to be probably a lack of education on that as a whole.
Yes, absolutely. A lot of people are simply not aware. When you think about most business owners, there's a small percentage who maybe grew up in a family where they've got business owners around them. The majority of business owners, and more specifically around women and minority business owners, for them, they don't have those examples. They may have had a life event that has caused them to become a business owner, or they're retiring and they've decided to open up a business. And so the majority of business owners have to take a lot of educational courses to learn all the steps to run a business properly. And unfortunately, there just is not a lot of comprehensive information out there about how to incorporate access to capital in your business from basically day one, thinking about it as you open up your business. And so most people, when I ask them, hey, what type of business funding are you aware of? They always say grants and loans. They may know about business credit, but they're not quite sure like how to obtain it, or they've maybe seen some, I call it bad marketing online, where you've got internet gurus who pop up and tell you like, hey, you can, get all of this credit with just your EIN number. And eventually you can do that, but there are steps that you have to take before that that might require your social security number. And so educating owners about the ins and outs of finance, it is a process, and it starts with the minute you basically receive money into your business.
Wow. What an amazing service. And again, as someone that works with a lot of small business owners, I think it's probably an untapped area for many. So a business like yours is certainly a valuable resource for a lot of small business owners out there.
Yes. And so we primarily, like I said, have been working with those larger like nonprofit or government entrepreneurship support organizations where they've got built-in clientele. And so my way of offering information out to, more business owners, I'm actively trying to market to different groups like chambers, actively participating on podcasts like this one, and getting the word out that at least at minimum there is an academy if those owners cannot pay for our services, where we just do all the paperwork and help you get that done.
Sure. Yeah, the academy makes a lot of sense too, right? Creating a product that can sit there and be great for your business, but also continue to be a resource for others. Okay, Cherrise, so what's something that you think has been the most surprising thing about just being a business owner?
The most surprising thing I would say as a business owner is that it never stops unless you stop. It is a ongoing lesson in life, and it is definitely, I think, probably one of the hardest journeys, but it's not for the faint at heart. Running a business and taking ownership of being responsible for others, especially if you become an employer firm, if you want to employ people, that is a very, very huge responsibility, because you got to make sure that you got enough revenue coming in, enough contracts to support not only your salary as the owner, but also that of your staff. And so I would say that's been probably the biggest shift for me. And in, you know, employing others and having that team, that's the only way to expand. And then the other reality that I've learned is, you know, service-based businesses have a little bit of a tougher road. You earn more in terms of millions of dollars if you also incorporate products with your services.
Interesting. Interesting. Okay, so in closing, how about some words of wisdom or words of advice for maybe a first-time business owner or someone that's still working in a regular job and thinking about taking the leap? What's some words of wisdom you could offer?
Okay, so my words of wisdom for the person who is considering taking a leap, I am not a proponent of jumping out there without plans. So I certainly recommend that you sit down and put your vision and your plan on paper first. I also recommend use your employer as your first investor. Use, you know, give your business a personal loan or loan your business, you know, personal funds from your salary and just save up the funds that are required for you to run your business on an annual basis, maybe at least for a year. There are a lot of startup costs, incorporation fees in your state, your business tax receipts, having a website, having website hosting, you know, getting some minimal office supplies. There are definitely 1 to 3 year costs that are going to cost you money. And if you have not already thought about securing a customer, you want to make sure that you've got that money saved up somehow. So I would say certainly, you know, don't just leap out there without a plan. I would say do it strategically and systematically and take your time with it. Especially also right now, we are in an economic slowdown. Funding is very, very tight right now on the personal side and for business. So take your time with it and just make a plan before you leap out on faith.
Very good. Just like you did.
Yes.
Yeah.
I made that plan.
That's right. All right. Listen, Cherrise, really, really great to hear about you and the services you offer. And again, I think untapped and unknown by a lot of business owners. So I'm glad we were able to do this and learn a bit more about Affinity Consulting Group and look forward to watching your journey moving forward. So thank you so much for your time.
Thank you so much, Matt.
Bye.